following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Thank you, Tally Olson. I am back. You are comfortably zoned with me, the Zig Zag Man, in Alameda, California, right across the bay from San Francisco and across the moat from Oakland. And today, as usual, I fulfill my promise to my audience to talk to some of the most interesting people on the face of the earth, on the planet, in the universe. Jerry Feitelberg is example number one of that. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Can't complain about a darn thing. It's a summer day in Alameda, which is known for the best climate in the country.
Not only that, Ralph, there are two things in American food that were invented here in Alameda.
Nestle's chocolate, was that it?
No. Skippy and Jif peanut butters were invented here in Alameda, as well as the popsicle.
Whoa, and I come from New York where nothing ever got done. Well, maybe nothing. And you're from Boston, so, but we take solace in whatever history Alameda gives us that's positive. Alameda has a great baseball history, and you like
yes,
me,
it does.
That's our passion. Michael
and
Duca,
you don't live far from Washington Park, where a lot of winter ball was played, and summer ball was played by guys like Gil McDougall and Charlie
Bill Rigney, Charlie Silvera came out and played at Washington Park.
Bobby Brown
from
San Francisco. Sure. They all played.
So it's rich, and I go over there 2 or 3 times a week to throw my baseball around, and it's a nice place to live, all told. Let me segue to the Earth, which doesn't seem to be that nice a place to live these days. Can you make heads or tails of what's happening? We've followed the world situation in our podcast for many months now. Has it ever been this crazy?
Oh, I think so. You go back to World War II and the murder of 60 million people. Those were very, very difficult times. You have in this country, we had the Vietnam War that tore the fabric of the country apart. They were drafting mostly poor people to do the fighting, the kids in college.
Jerry,
and the rich
it's been tough throughout the years, but we have always had a man at the helm. Whether we disagreed with the policies, disagree with some policies, that others vehemently disagree, whatever it is, we had someone who we thought of as a leader of the free world. And this guy is an Amendment 25 waiting to happen.
Well, yeah, you're right, but in order for that to be invoked, the cabinet has to do it, and the cabinet is all his lackeys, so it's not going to happen. The only other way to get rid of him before the election is to impeach him, and they're working on it. They are. The judiciary. Yeah, they're getting the records from the banks, and they're going to see the transactions, see what's involved, and we'll see what happens. This guy is. He's
the Teflon Don, though, Jerry. He's ordered all off. He still hasn't given income tax reports, which there's a rumor that alone, taking money from wherever he took it, be it Saudi Arabia, in return for stuff, be it Russia, be it China, whatever could be his undoing, and I don't know how he's kept from having that information released.
Well, he operates on the premises of delay, deny, and he just keeps on. He just says, "I didn't do it, and and when they go to look for it, he puts roadblocks in the way. After the Mueller report, when the Judiciary Committee and the Intelligence Committee issued subpoenas for various witnesses that had worked at the White House, they said, you can't talk to the Congress. You can't talk to the Congress. Well, maybe you can, maybe you can't. It's up to the courts to decide, and I'm sure that will be coming up soon. And they're going to make decisions that he's not going to like. And they continue to do stuff to harass immigrants today, in the paper today. People who are here legally but aren't yet quite citizens, they want to deny benefits to these people and to send a message to those trying to get here that even if you get here, you can't get work, we're not going to support you, even though you're here legally. And, the laws apply to everybody. You can't pick and choose to whom you want the laws to apply. And I'm sure the ACLU and other groups are going to test that in court too, and they'll probably win.
Well, with that comes denying these people health benefits. And
exactly.
When you do that, as you well know, epidemics can be spread because these people aren't getting, and then spread to people who are white nationalists,
right.
should meet with Trump's approval. Why would he want epidemics to spread on mankind?
The man has no empathy. He has no understanding of the way things work. He just has what's in his brain and what he's in, and he doesn't think that anybody knows anything. That when he ran, he alone was the one that could fix things, which meant to me that he didn't want to hear anybody tell him. He was going to determine that what they should do. Another thing they did today is they want to do away with the restrictions on to safeguard the eliminations of species that was passed during the Nixon era. And they want to do away with that so they go on public lands and drill for more oil and gas instead of thinking that they're ruining the planet by pumping all these fossil fuels out instead of going to wind power, solar power, other means of providing energy without destroying the environment.
How about what they're doing in the Arctic?
In the Arctic, everything's melting. It's the hottest summer ever in Alaska. The glaciers that have been there for 1,000 years, they're melting. It's just disappearing. And when they're gone, they're gone.
And
that affects weather,
which will be gone for good on the face of the planet. So
exactly.
he will never be able to say, and our generation will never be able to say, we left the world a better place. My father's generation, my grandfather's generation was able to say that. It wasn't the best place, but it was a better place than they found it. And
exactly.
And we are unable to say that now. And that's very depressing.
I have a friend who's a toxicologist with the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. And he's living in Colorado now. He used to be one of my neighbors up in Mendocino. He worked for the state of California for a long time, then went to work for the feds. They are the people at the EPA cannot believe what's going on. They have literally gutted the Environmental Protective Agency. The people running it hate the Environment Act and all the protections that they have. All they want to do is rape the land, pull out the oil, and screw everybody else. Destroy the water tables, do whatever they're doing that destroys the environment. If people want to see a good movie, about how things work in the environment. There was a documentary out called Big Little Farm, and it's just an amazing story about a couple who was living. The guy was a filmmaker. He was a documentarian, and he lived in L.A. in an apartment, and he had a dog, and the dog would bark when they weren't there, and so the neighbors complained, and they got evicted. So they decided to move away from L.A. They moved up to the Santa Clarita Valley, and they bought a farm. And they had help, and it was a great. And it was the film was done over 8 years. And you see the progress. And they worked hard. They didn't make a lot of money at first, but they made it profitable. They didn't use pesticides. They did what was called organic farming, and it was very nice. And it showed the relationship of animals and the environment and all the things that go on. And it's well worth the public watching it. It's kind of like an Inconvenient Truth that Al Gore did about 10, 12 years ago, the movie about the ruining the environment and the impact on life on the planet. This is the hottest June and July on record on the planet ever. And we're going to have worse storms. We're going to have worse, terrible hurricanes, tornadoes, you name it, we're going to have it. And because the planet's getting warmer, and the hurricanes feed off that warm water. So, you got people in Congress who are weather deniers, the climate change deniers. They drink the same water, they breathe the same air, and you just wonder, what the hell do they care about? Don't they care about?
Do they care about their kids and grandkids? For one,
I don't know. It's infuriating.
Or do they care about the fact that the stock market is up, which really doesn't affect them because they don't have money in the stock market. Rich people have money in the stock market. So they're not affected, but they think because the stock market is good, the economy is good, and they have a job. It ain't a union job anymore. They may have to work 2 jobs to keep their family together, and in most cases, depending on where you live, 2 menial jobs won't keep a family under shelter in the Bay Area.
Oh no! In order to, you have to. A family of 4 with an income of about $120,000 in San Francisco is just hanging by the threads, and $120,000 is a pretty good income if you're living in Webster City, Iowa, or if you're living, in South Dakota, but not in the Bay Area. It's just look at the rents on an apartment. My God, a 2-bedroom apartment is over $4,000 a month. That's $48,000 a year just for rent. How much? And if you're making $120 and you're paying taxes, how much do you have left to meet the other basic needs that you have? It's just not, the numbers don't add up.
Well, we've depressed me and depressed you just by talking about it. So let's take a segue to something that we both, it's a passion that takes our minds off it, if for short periods of time only. Baseball, the 2019 season, and you're basically a Red Sox and an A's maven, so I'll stick to what you know best and learn from you. Let's start with, in alphabetical order, the A's. How about a recap of what's going on since last we spoke?
Oh yeah, the A's are playing pretty good baseball. They are 16 games over 500, a record of 67 and 51. So that's they got about 40 games left. I got Ralph, put me on pause for a second. I got an important call coming in.
Okay, we'll take a break.
Okay,
Comfortably Zoned Radio Network.
I'll call you right back.
The link of it all. Jerry Feitelberg is our guest. He has an important call coming in, and we're going to pause it. So we'll be back. Back as promised with Jerry Feitelberg.
So we're talking about the A's. The A's are playing very good baseball. However, they finished their 8-game road trip against the National League with 2 in San Francisco starting tomorrow on Tuesday night, and they have to go up against the Giants ace Madison Bumgarner tomorrow night, and then Tyler Beatty on Wednesday. The A's will be countering with Brett Anderson, who's 10-7, having a pretty good year for them. And then on Wednesday, they have Homer Bailey, who'll be making his 6th start as an Athletic. The A's are in a dogfight for the second wild card spot in the American League. They trail the Tampa Bay Rays by 1.5 games, and I think they're done playing the Rays for the year, so won't be able to beat them head to head. But is that their next 11 games or 9 games, well, they're 11 games, including the 2 in San Francisco. After they finish 2 with the Giants, they have 4 with the Houston Astros, and Houston is only a half game behind the New York Yankees for the best record in the American League, and they've been on a rampage. They lost the other day, but they had an 8-game winning streak. They made 3 terrific additions at the trade deadline. They got Zach Greinke from the Diamondbacks. They got Aaron Sanchez from the Toronto Blue Jays, and they also got Joe Biagini from the Blue Jays for the bullpen. And their starting lineup is terrific. If you go down, you look at Bregman, Correa, Altuve, Gurriel, Brantley, Springer, Reddick. My God, they're loaded. They got solid players up and down that lineup. And then the A's have an off day next Monday, and then they have to face the New York Yankees. And the Yankees are loaded with Aaron Judge, and they're getting great play from Urshela. They're getting great play from you name it, whoever they put in there.
Well, they've been taking off on Baltimore the last few days like nobody's business.
Yeah. Well, they actually beat Baltimore 23-2, something like that. Baltimore is just terrible. And the other weak sister in the American League East is Toronto. The Blue Jays are not playing well. The Rays are okay. They've got, as I said, right now they would be in the playoffs in the second wild card spot. And then you come to the Red Sox. The Red Sox who won 108 games last year. Everything went well, just right for them. And that's what happens in a championship year. This year, everything is going wrong for them. Their starting pitching has been terrible. Terrible. Porcello, Sale, Price, whoever else they throw out there. They've
got the names. They put the names out there, but it's like somebody else's stats are like they're from somebody else's baseball card.
Yeah, and then the bullpen is terrible, and they lost 2 stalwarts in the bullpen, Joe Kelly, who had a terrific World Series, and Craig Kimbrell, who had a lot of saves. I think he had 40 saves for them last year, and they couldn't come to a deal with him, and then he ended up signing with the Cubs, and now he's on the injured list with a sore knee. So,
well, another guy who signed with the Cubs is someone the A's were, gonna sign, I would think, and that's last year's catcher who.
Luke Roy.
Luke Roy was released by the Angels, and the Cubs ate him up. And I thought because Fegley got hurt that it would just be the natural fit. It wasn't.
No.
Can you give me some idea? It couldn't have been the money. It's only most of the season is gone.
There must have been something else going on in the clubhouse. There had to be something else going. Either he has what should I say, an abrasive personality. Who knows? All I know is that he handles pitchers well, and the A's set really, really blossomed with him last year. And the Cubs had an injury to I think it was Contreras. He pulled a hamstring, and he's out for 4 to 6 weeks until that thing heals. So it didn't cost them very much money to hire Luke Roy to work for the Cubs. So that's the way it goes.
It would have been a natural for the A's. I can't really fault anything Billy Beane does, though. This guy, if you take the last 15 years, has done more, gotten more bang for the buck than any other general manager in baseball.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting that when he's gone out on the limb and hired people, like he had, I think he had 3 big mistakes I can think of offhand, and it cost him about $10 million a year. One was bringing Ben Sheets back, and Ben lasted 2 or 3 months. They had the reliever Jim Johnson, who had saved 51 or 100 games with Baltimore. He comes to Oakland, can't get anybody else, and that cost them $10 million. Then they had a 3-year deal with Billy Butler, who was a hitter with the Royals, but he lost it. He couldn't hit anything more than a single. So they paid a lot of money for guys that didn't work out, and that happens in baseball. That's something that's going to happen. You just never know. Baseball, unlike a lot of other sports, because it's such a difficult game, to be consistent is amazing. Whether you're a pitcher or a hitter, it's unbelievable. Guys that are hitters, they don't know. They get hot. They don't know why they get hot. They get into a slump. They don't know why they got into a slump. One year you're hitting 300. The next year you're down to 220. Who knows? It's just the way it goes. And of course, with analytics now, everybody knows what you do on the first pitch, what you do when the count's 2-1. It's very difficult for the hitters these days. Plus, they got the shift and all these other things that are going on in baseball. It's a totally different game than when we were kids. There's no bunting. There's no hit and run. There's no nothing.
No strategy, and sadly, the DH will, in my opinion, within 5 years, probably less, it'll take over completely. The National League will put in the DH.
Yeah, I would hope so, because it's kind of weird when you have an interleague play. I think that the American League is at.
Well, I would have hoped for the American League to give it up, because I think it really limits strategy, and it takes away a lot from the game, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
And I know why the owners want it. The owners want people. They want fans to see scoring. And if you get good pitching and you shut down the hitters, people sit there and they all want to see home runs, and that's what they're getting out. They're not seeing real baseball. They're just seeing guys hit home runs. Strike out, walk, home run. Strike out, walk, home run. Launch angle. Who gives a damn about launch angle? I used to like to see guys like Nellie Fox, and
Louis Aparicio. Aparicio would get on. Nellie Fox would get him over. Jim Landis might hit another base hit, get a base hit or whatever, but you'd manufacture runs. And
sure.
My point is, you don't see that anymore.
Who was better at manufacturing than Ricky Henderson? He would drive. He'd get a walk, steal second, steal third, fly ball to left field, score 1-0 A's, score a run without the benefit of a hit. He was great. Or he'd lead off the game with a home run. He had over 80 home runs leading off. Leads Major League Baseball in that category. Record probably never be broken.
When they talk about great left fielders, everybody mentions Ted Williams, Barry Bonds, etc. Ricky Henderson isn't mentioned as much as he should be.
Oh, he's probably one of the top 5 players all time.
No,
what he could do.
But you know what? You take your average baseball fan, and he wouldn't be listed in the top 10 on most people's list.
Well, if I were starting a baseball team,
he would.
Me
too. He'd be one of the guys. He'd be, if you can't get Hornsby, if you can't get Willie Mays, Tris Speaker, you go for Ricky.
You got it. Ricky's
he was
the
great,
guy.
and he was able to give an intelligent induction speech into the Hall of Fame. Which,
that was wonderful, his speech. I saw that.
He rehearsed that. He was not a man of words, and the time he spent putting that together was it gave me goosebumps to listen to him.
Yeah, it was. I agree with you on that. I thought that was sensational, his speech. The other one that I liked too was the Big Hurt when he went in, Frank Thomas. He gave a great speech too. And Frank played to the A's in 2006, and that was the only year that they went in the playoffs that they got past the first round. Then they met the Tigers in the second round, and they got bounced out. But
there was an article that Wayne Unger put on his blog about Frank Thomas and how Luis Pujols's really not living up to the contract by any stretch of the means magnifies the fact that Frank Thomas, from start to finish, was a great ball player. He went out on top. He never left the franchise wishing they didn't sign him. And talk about another underrated player. We were lucky enough to watch him, as you say, out here with the A's.
Oh yeah, and he had a great career with the White Sox. And when the White Sox would come in, when he was on their roster, watch out, he used to kill the A's. He'd kill everybody. He was just a magnificent ball player, and he was one of my favorite all-time players.
Hey, and you're one of my favorite all-time guests. This has been terrific, Jerry.
I like talking baseball with you. I like talking. We talked about
and we talk baseball and life, which really makes it special for me.
Yeah, and every day that you wake up and you see yourself in the mirror, it's a great day. It is a great day.
Just absolutely. You don't even. Every day you wake up, I don't want to look at myself in the mirror, but I'm alive, so it's a great day. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you for listening, everybody. I'm Ralph Tyko, Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. I'm going to end this podcast like I, over the years, have ended most of mine. I implore you, Jerry, and my guests, my audience, Jerry is my guest, to keep your dreams wet, keep your humor dry, keep your children out of the grasp of military recruiters and off the laps of clerics that wear dresses. Then you'll be in good shape, and you'll thank me. See you, Jerry. Thanks again.
Okay. Great show.
Bye.
Bye now.